This is with the company called the Overflow Garage. And it was purchased by one of our companies that was owned at the time by my parents and me and my 5 brothers and sisters. And basically what was up here was all the junk that nobody wanted and no place to store it. And in this section, you can see these post holes. This fence was over here, and that side was the corporation used, or the construction company. And this side was basically, we all had our cars in there. And of course, since I think at the time, this is about 11 years ago, I probably had 4 or 5 cars. I had the majority of it. So it went from storing my cars here, and I think it was about 11 years ago, I hired Wayne part-time. He'd come at night and we would work on cars, not really restoring them, but really trying to get the cars running that I own. If you look here, the original space stopped at the other side of this garage door. So we had 2 garage doors and the man door coming in. And that was how it started, and this is where my cars were. And basically, I was probably, I don't know if anybody had any cars here or not, but I was probably the only one in here with their cars. This room was the original room. That partition wasn't here. And what I basically did is I had my cars stored in here. I think I had 4 or 5 at the time. What we started out doing was trying to get the cars I had running, not really restoring. After a couple of months, I hired Wayne full time. So then we decided maybe do them a little nicer and try to get them, I wouldn't say restored even at this point. So we built this petition because you couldn't do body work. It's a much dirtier job. So we built that petition to do the body work so we could keep in here and restore the parts. And we basically it was all encompassing room. It was an office, it was a parts room, it was a storage room. We assembled the cars here, or the car here, and that's basically how we started, and it mushroomed from there. On the other side of the wall, what we did is put a body shop, and this is where we did our body work. And this really stayed our body shop until we just moved this time. So this is where we did most of the body work. When we painted, we lifted up the door about 12 inches, and we had a box. We made a box that had 3 fans, and we actually painted here, turned on the fans, and try to get some of the paint residue out. This stayed the body shop until I bought the paint spray booth. After about 2 years, I hired another guy that was a painter and a body guy, part-time, and I hired Ron, who now is still with me part-time. He worked about 10 or 12 hours a week. So I started to get more serious, and we were really out of space. So I talked my brothers into giving me this next garage, and that's when we moved the 10-foot high fence over, and I ended up with this next, because we needed a lift also. It was too hard to work on the cars without a lift. So that's when I'm going to say it's about 7 years ago now. So we got this part of the building. I put a lift in, and we ended up with 3 bays and 3 large garage doors. So this is where we did the actual tearing apart of the cars and assembly. So now we truly had a body shop, an office, and we made the office, the first part that we would come through, we made that into the hardware room and parts room. Well, then we got tired painting we couldn't get a good enough paint job. We ended up with too much work after the paint was done. We spent wet sanding and to make it a quality job. So I decided to buy a paint spray booth. And that was probably 5 years ago. Now I needed someplace to put it. So then I kicked my brothers out, and my nieces and nephews, who had the next area where the storage is, and we'll walk down here. This, by the way, is going to this will be in the wash bay of the new building. This will be the lift for the wash bay. You can see there's still a little bit of stuff left, not much. This became our paint room where we mixed the paint, and this is where my nieces and nephews had all their furniture, really junk, things that needed to be thrown away. And that's how I convinced them to to vacate it. This area, the paint spray booth pretty much filled up the whole area. So this is where we located the paint spray booth that is now in the new building. We moved it over a couple of months ago. So now we had a paint room, a paint spray booth, a paint room, 3-bay garage, a body shop, an office, and actually we did our plating in the office and a storage room and parts room. The next room we're going to go to was our lawn crew. And my brothers decided that the lawn crew should be out at our farm instead of here, so that gave me the next room. And I needed storage for cars, so what I did is I turned it into like a mini showroom. Now, this isn't a very big room, and we were able to fit, there was a couch here and a little bit of an area for seating, but we put 6 cars in here. And you can imagine 6 cars, you could hardly walk around them, and it was difficult to see them. But even with that problem, of course it's heat and air conditioning, you can see the spotlights. Even with that problem, as soon as people walked through the room, they'd say, wow. So this became, the name of this room became the Wow Room. As we started getting nicer and nicer cars, I decided that I probably wanted to show them. Now the problem is, if you have more than one car and you want to show them in a concourse, you really can't drive them. So I went out and started looking for a tractor and trailer. And here's what I found. This is the second trailer that we had. I bought this about 2 or 3 years ago, but we've done all the paint and all the decaling. And when we go to the shows now, the truck's as big a hit as our cars. So when they see us coming, some people leave because I think I'm called the 600-pound gorilla of the car shows. When I bought the truck, we decided to put the number on it, 007, because in Pennsylvania you have to have a number on your truck. When we got the license plate, which we didn't order or anything, coincidence, we got 007, us and Aston Martin and James Bond.